And welcome to Part 84 of my report on the McCarrick Report by Patrick Parson. Today we begin Chapter 23 of the McCarrick Report, titled McCarrick's Continued Activity and Related OEC Decision-Making, Fall 2008 to Fall 2011. We discover that McCarrick, despite what the highest hierarchy would like to believe, continues to be active for at least the next 3 years, although perhaps not being quite so obvious about it. Even after resigning from some of his USCCB committee assignments, McCarrick still retains his active membership in several others, as well as staying on the board of directors for the Christian Relief Services, CRS, and the CRS Foundation. McCarrick did considerable traveling from 2008 to 2011, going to the Balkans, Caucasus, Lebanon, Southeast Asia, Chile, Malaysia, Mexico, Rome, Hungary, Belarus, Cyprus, Kosovo, Philippines, Israel, Russia, Ghana, Swaziland, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Poland, Jordan, Syria, Indonesia, Argentina, where he paid his respects to the then Cardinal Bergoglio, the future Pope Francis, Qatar, the Baltic countries, Ukraine, Haiti, Spain, England, Brazil, Armenia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Iran, and Germany. A footnote on page 347 states that McCarrick had visited the Holy Land only a week before Pope Benedict XVI visited the Holy Land, and that multiple sources suggested the Pope was displeased that McCarrick had done so. But the footnote also says this notion has not been substantiated. In fact, in early 2009, the Holy See renewed McCarrick's diplomatic passport with one official of the Secretariat, not identified, by the way, in the report, as saying the passport would be particularly useful for trips to the Middle East. A footnote on page 349 quotes an unidentified USCCB staff member as saying, quote, "He was used in so many ways in an official capacity in those years. We sent him on a number of sensitive trips, and I went on some of those trips with him. So, while questions about his conduct have arisen later, as they obviously did, it is indisputable that he was a continuing and valued member of the Bishops' Conference and several of its committees during those years. They relied upon him whenever they needed him, and he in turn acted on the conference's behalf in situations where others either could not or would not, or where they simply thought that he was the best man for the job." Unquote. McCarrick also continued letting the nuncio know that McCarrick was ready and willing to offer his knowledge and experience with China to the Holy See. McCarrick also wrote directly to Pope Benedict XVI about some of his travels in the Holy Land and Serbia. In May of 2010, a diocesan official from the Archdiocese of Washington asked Monsignor Peter B. Wells, Assessor for General Affairs of the Secretariat of State, for a letter of blessing from the Pope for McCarrick's 80th birthday coming up in July. Wells asked Cardinal George, President of the USCCB, and Archbishop Wuerl of Washington about the matter, who both suggested a birthday message from the Holy Father would be inopportune due to the possibility of the New York Times printing a nasty article on the Cardinal's moral life. When the request reached the Pope himself, Benedict's opinion was to not write. Now, a footnote on page 353, Cardinal Wuerl, in a later interview, stated he did not recall ever discussing a papal birthday blessing or a potential New York Times article about McCarrick. Wuerl also emphasized he was never aware of any sexual scandals involving McCarrick. Isn't it sad when a person's mind becomes so affected that one can no longer remember important events in his life? I can only hope his mind is effective enough to remember his purpose for having been created, which is to know God, to love God, and to serve God. Perhaps we should remember to remind ourselves of why we were created as well, and that is for the same purpose of knowing, loving, and serving God. Maybe praying the Fatima prayer will help us. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, and lead all souls to heaven, especially those in most need of thy mercy.